Well, CNN officially now terminating primetime anchor Chris Cuomo after documents revealed he used his role in the media to find information on those raising accusations against his brother. Here to react is Beverly Hallberg, president of District Media Group, Independent Women's Forum. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Beverly.
Good morning.
I want to read first of all CNN's statement on firing Chris Cuomo. It says this. I'll get your response. Chris Cuomo was suspended earlier this week, pending further evaluation of new information that came to light about his involvement with his brother's defense. Despite the termination, we will investigate as appropriate. And then we heard from Chris Cuomo later, who said, "This is not how I wanted my time at CNN to end, but I've already told you why and how I helped my brother. So let me now say, as disappointing as this is, I could not be more proud of the team at Cuomo Prime Time." I just wonder, though, they had a lot of this information for quite a while, CNN. They knew he'd been helping his brother dig up information about his accusers. And it only seems to be when there was an accusation of sexual harassment that came out that they made this final move. Do you think that this all happened far too slowly?
Oh, very much so. And you even had CNN's reliable sources host Brian Stelter come out and say that this was a death by 1,000 cuts. What I agree with him on is that there have been multiple indiscretions for months, and yet CNN did nothing about it. Just to name a few of them, first of all, we knew that Chris Cuomo brought his brother on TV while the nursing home scandal information was unfolding. We know that Chris Cuomo received priority COVID testing because his brother was governor. And we know, as you just mentioned, that he was involved in these strategy sessions with his brother concerning the sexual allegations. We've known that for months. And it actually seems it was easier for New Yorkers to get Andrew Cuomo out of the governor's mansion than it has been for CNN to get Chris Cuomo out of the hosting chair.
But again, so how do you explain that delay? How do you explain CNN waiting so long?
Well, I think we're going to find out more details, because what we're actually seeing now is CNN President Jeff Zucker and Chris Cuomo, who appeared to be buddies for years, are now going at it. So you had Jeff Zucker said it was a bridge too far with the latest information coming out by the New York's Attorney General, and then the following independent investigation that CNN did. And what you saw was Chris Cuomo came out this weekend and said, look, there's been no new information. My buddy Jeff Zucker has known about this all along. And so I think you're going to see them go back and forth. The Cuomos don't go away quietly. So I think CNN is going to be going up definitely against somebody who wants to clear his name and his brother's name.
They might not be going away quietly, but neither are some of these accusers. One of the lawyers speaking out recently and saying this, hearing the hypocrisy of Chris Cuomo's on-air words and disgusted by his efforts to try and discredit these women, my client retained counsel to report his serious sexual misconduct against her. And you just feel that both Cuomos were of the camp that all accusers must be believed first and foremost. There was no innocence until proven guilty, until the allegations come towards them. And then they just say, witch hunt, witch hunt. And I just wonder what you think of that hypocrisy.
Oh, it's complete hypocrisy, and not just by the Cuomo brothers, but by CNN itself, which has claimed to be a defender of women, a defender of the Me Too movement. But this newest allegation is not the first. We know that there have been allegations against Chris Cuomo. And the question I have is, why weren't those investigated thoroughly? I'm all for due process, but this should be looked into. And I think you could add to this a concern that you have Jeffrey Toobin, who is still allowed as CNN legal analyst, even though he exposed himself on a Zoom meeting. So a lot of questions as far as how women are treated at CNN, and I think those are all just being exposed right now, even more so as we're learning more about Chris Cuomo.
We've sort of seen bigger shifts at CNN over the last few years, a shift to the left. And I just wonder whether or not, with all these allegations now swirling, whether something has to change at the top. I mean, do you think CNN has to really look at itself now and move in a different direction? Is it doing something wrong at the moment?
Well, I think that they've been going in a direction that hasn't been helpful to their viewers, and that's one of the reasons why their ratings are so low. They've been focused more on opinion journalism than actually reporting the facts. And I think one of the reasons it was so hard for Jeff Zucker to make this decision to get rid of Chris Cuomo is that his ratings were good. And so this decision to terminate him, the fact that it took so long when so much had been brewing for months and we had known so much, I think as a result that CNN is desperate for ratings and they were trying to hold on to their best host. But again, it comes down then to ratings and money versus office place ethics, which they claim to uphold. They claim to stand up for women. But so far, and we still need to know details about this sexual allegation, so far that doesn't seem to be the case within the workplace at CNN.
Very quickly, Beverly, who do you think should get the spot?
Oh, I think they're pushing for Anderson Cooper to get it, but he has struggled with ratings as well. But I think you could look to him to take over the spot, or they may do some type of rotation for the time being. But the reality is I think their ratings can continue to drop.
Yeah, Beverly, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.